some of us are going to be joining us live in the Facebook group. Thank you everyone for joining us today. For those of you that are watching live, you can pop any comments that you have in the comment section. I'll be monitoring as best as I can because we got some of us joining us live here on Facebook, joining us here on Zoom, and then some of us joining us live on Facebook as well too. But we are what are we? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We are day 4 of a 7-day challenge that we're doing within the group. What are some big wins that we're celebrating so far, ladies? Maybe you can just pop it in the comment section below, or if you want to mute yourself, let's share some big wins. So I've already heard from a few of you that you have more energy, maybe less craving, less hunger, that you're feeling very full and satiated with the intake of protein. So if you could just pop it in the comment section, you know, what your major wins are so far in 4 days, which is pretty incredible if we can already start seeing some major wins in 4 days. Just pop it in the comment section, or if you're watching live on Facebook, you can pop it in the comment section as well too. And Dana is joining us on Facebook as well too. Okay, so today what I'm going to be talking about is hacks to stay consistent no matter what. How many of you feel that staying consistent is probably one of the hardest things, or feel like this is one of the biggest struggles that you have on your whether on your health and fitness journey, whether your goal is fat loss, maybe you want to get more healthier, maybe you just want to build some more muscle. Pop a comment in the comment section if staying consistent, just say me, if staying consistent is something that you're struggling with. Pop that in the comment section if that's something that you're currently struggling with, and I'll keep watching also on, it's very hard. Okay, so Dana's saying it's very hard. All right. So today what I want to talk about is something that's really crucial if you want to see real lasting results on your fitness journey, and that's being consistent. Consistency is really the magic ingredient that makes everything else really work. If you're inconsistent, then even the best diet and exercise plan won't get you where you want to be. And I know that staying consistent can be really tough, especially when life throws you curveballs your way, especially for us women that are over the age of 40 and maybe experiencing a lot of perimenopausal symptoms. And that's why I put together some of my favorite hacks on what to do to try and stay on track no matter what comes your way. Okay, so one of the first things that one of the biggest mistakes that I see women making is that they do very low calorie diets. How many of you have been on a diet that's been 1,200 calories or less? Pop a comment. Me, if that's someone, if you've done that before, where you've super restricted your calories. So a lot of times we do this because we want to lose the weight very quickly. But here's the thing, when you drop your calories too low, your body starts to fight back. Okay, when you're not eating enough, your body thinks it's in a state of starvation. And that's when this trouble really starts to begin. This is when we notice, how many of you guys have been on a diet where you're irritable? Maybe you have constant cravings. You're constantly hungry. You know, you're lashing out at your family. Like, you're just hating the entire process. Like, how many of you have been or experienced that in your in diets that you've done before in the past? Pop a yes in the comment section if that is something that you've experienced before. So this is like very common, and these are all signals that your body is under stress and it wants food. So our bodies are really smart, and when we're under eating and doing super low caloric diets, our body is fighting for homeostasis. Okay, so it will start to send these signals like, I want food. So that's why the cravings get really intense. That's why the hunger gets really intense. This is why we're moody. And then the process becomes very unenjoyable. So when you're always hungry and dealing with cravings, you're much more likely to reach for foods that don't align with your goals. You know, these might be those little extra bites, licks, and tastes. And this is where we see this scenario very often is like Monday to Friday, you know, I'm going to stick to my plan. I'm going to be very, very strong. I'm going to be really, really disciplined. And then on the weekend, it's binging. And I just want you to let you know that it's not your fault that this is happening. You know, a lot of women will be like, oh, I just wasn't disciplined enough. Or, you know, maybe I wasn't strong enough to do this. No, the problem is that the calories are so low that your body is kind of fighting against you because it wants to fight for that homeostasis. And this is where we see this like a lot of binge cycles happening, and your body just wants food. So not only that, but your mood can affect your motivation to work out or even just stay active throughout the day. Like if you have no energy and you're moody and you're not feeling good, this makes the journey far less enjoyable and sustainable. And remember, this just isn't about looking good. Your mental and emotional well-being is just as important. So what's the solution? Instead of slashing your calories drastically, I recommend focusing on creating a moderate calorie deficit that you can sustain over time. So this approach may take longer, but it's more effective in the long run because it's something that you can stick with without feeling like you're constantly battling against your own body. And you'll also be able to keep the weight off afterwards. Like I spoke to somebody this morning, one of you ladies in the challenge. I don't know if she's on the call here. Anyway, she had sent me something that she saw online, like lose 20 pounds in 28 days. And then, you know, she came to the own realization that this is probably not the best diet to be doing. I'm like, you know, if the goal is sustainable fat loss, then we got to like, you know, put our thinking caps on and really understand that you didn't get to where you were. Like if your goal is fat loss, like we didn't get to where you were in 1 month. Okay. And it's not going to take you a month to get you to where you want to be. So go for something that is sustainable in the long run. So, you know, you should be eating at maintenance calories first before you go into a fat loss phase. And when you're in that maintenance calories, you know, maybe you do a 300 calorie deficit to start off with, see how your body feels, and then you can do a 500 calorie deficit. So what I mean by that is, let's just say your maintenance calories is 2,000. Well, maybe you start off at 1,700 calories first and do a moderate calorie deficit. And if still things maybe are not moving as much, then you can go into a 500 calorie deficit afterwards. But start off with a moderate one before, like some of these diets that are out there, they're suggesting that you do a 1,000 calorie deficit. You're actually eating less calories than your basal metabolic rate. That is dangerous. Your basal metabolic rate is the amount of calories that your body needs to function at rest. Never mind with adding on your activity level. So like if you're eating less than that, how do you think your body is going to respond? Are you just going to say like, whoa, like what is going on right now? You know, we are not in homeostasis. Like I want food. You're doing all these things and you're eating me. Yes, we need to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat, but there is a much more sustainable way of doing this. Okay. The other thing that I see is a mistake. Sorry, guys, I'm getting over being sick. Is to say no to super restrictive diets. Okay, avoid these super restrictive diets that have a long list of foods that you can eat. So this is kind of different than what I mentioned in the first thing. What I mean by this is doing diets that promise fast results, but they're really setting you up for failure. So how many of you have done a diet where you can't have food that you love to eat? Like it has a long laundry list of foods that you can't be eating. I've seen diets like no carbs, no fruit, maybe it's a restriction, like a timing food restriction diet, like intermittent fasting. That is also restrictive because you're restricting the time that you can eat your food. How many of you have ever done diets like this where, you got a list of foods that you can't be eating? Pop up comment me, yes, that's me before, or yes, that's happened to me before. Okay, so how many of you guys do this diet and enjoyed it? How many of you actually enjoyed doing a diet like this, where you were, yes, done that and been there? Okay, how many of you have enjoyed actually doing a diet where you had a long laundry list of foods that you could not eat? I don't see anybody saying me. Okay, so why am I saying this? Like, because it's setting you up for failure because they're simply not sustainable. Let's be honest. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Food is just not fuel. It's also about pleasure, social connections, and tradition. So when you follow a diet that cuts out entire food groups or forbids you from eating certain foods, you're more likely to feel deprived. And what happens when you feel deprived? No thanks. Yeah. What happens when we feel deprived, ladies, on a diet? What happens? There's a few things that happen. So number one, we get this we cheat. Exactly. And we get this FOMO. It's like, oh, as soon as we say we can't have that, it's almost like our minds start obsessing more about those foods that we can't have. And to be honest with you, I just think it creates a very poor relationship around food. Okay, where we have this list of bad foods and good foods, right? Really how we should be looking at foods is they fall in three categories: carbs, proteins, and fats, like what I've been trying to teach you, ladies. Carbs, proteins, and fats, they fall into these three categories. And we want to have at least 80% whole foods, but still enjoy 20% fun foods, processed foods, like maybe that chocolate or that candy or that cookie that you want to have so bad. It's okay to incorporate that in there. And you'll be far more successful. What happens if you're, eating in a certain way where it's enjoyable and you don't feel deprived? What's the likelihood of you sticking to that? Is it high or low? What do you think? What's the likelihood? Pop a comment. If you're eating foods, very high, better odds. Yes, exactly. I'm going to just check over here. Dana's saying we give up. Okay. So you start to crave those foods that you're trying to avoid, which can lead to binge eating or even giving up on the diet altogether. So this is why we want to have, like what I said, that 80% whole foods, 20% fun foods. Like if you love chocolate or pizza, you could still enjoy them in moderation. The key is to really incorporate them into your overall plan so that you don't feel like you're missing out, so that you're not the lady at the party that sees the chips and starts binge eating on it because you haven't had it for, a month. Okay, you're not the lady at the party that's showing up and obsessing about the food that's there, because you're learning how to eat normal. Like you're learning just how to eat and still enjoy those foods in your diet. Now, doesn't that sound like a way better way to be consistent as opposed to doing something that's so restrictive? I hope so. Okay, just want to make sure everybody's muted because we got someone else joining us as well here. Okay, so number 3 hack is accountability and the power of support. Okay, this is accountability really helps with staying consistent. So let's be real. Going at it alone can be really tough, especially when life gets hectic or when you hit a rough patch. How many of you have found this easier to do this 7-day challenge because we're a group of women doing it together? Pop a comment. Yes, I find this way more easier. Put it in the comment section. Yes, for sure. This is way more easier when we're doing it together. Why? Because we're accountable to each other. We're accountable. We're helping each other out. So accountability can help you stay consistent. Having someone to support you, whether it's a coach, a friend, or a group of like-minded women, like the group that I have created, can make all of the difference. When you know that someone is checking in on you, it creates a sense of responsibility. You're not only accountable to yourself, you're accountable to someone else or a group of people. People are far more successful when they are surrounded by a group of people that have similar interest. It can be incredibly motivating, and it can help you push through those moments when you feel like giving up. So this is one of the reasons why I've created the Facebook group and community. This is a place where you can share your challenges, celebrate your successes, and get advice when you're struggling. This is why I also created the group chat specifically for the women in the challenge. I see you guys sharing recipes, cheering each other on, asking questions. You're so much more successful when you've got that extra layer of accountability. And so, like, if you prefer more personalized support, you can always work with us in our one-on-one coaching program, where will provide you more of that tailored guidance and accountability and a plan that's really specific to you, your needs, and your goals. So just remember, you don't need to do this alone. There's lots of strength in numbers, and having a support system can really help you stay consistent even when things get really tough, okay? I know lots of our clients lean on each other. You know, maybe on the day that they didn't want to get that workout in, they come into our group, they see everybody flexing on Friday, and that just like makes them feel so much better. It's like, okay, I got a lot of things going on, but you know, maybe Sandy is a busy mom like me, and she's got kids, but you know, she's still showing up for herself. Like, when you're seeing other women doing what you want to be doing, that is also very motivating and can help you stay consistent. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the group and the challenge so far. I do see Shanta said, I love the group. It's good. I have questions or need clarification. Yes. Amazing. See what we're saying here. Okay. I'm happy to hear that, because that is a big, big component of things. Okay. So number 4, your hack to stay consistent no matter what is setting yourself up for success, which means we want to do a little bit of pre-planning and also meal prepping. Okay. 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 I figured out who's in the red now. Thank you for messaging me that. Yeah, no problem. So, yeah, how many of us right now are meal planning and meal prepping? Or maybe you just started this week. Shanta, you're doing it. Who else? Who else is meal planning and meal prepping? Debbie's doing it as well too. Anybody else? Maybe you just started this week, meal planning and meal prepping. And what I did for you guys is I actually, with the 14-day meal plan that I provided to you, I've actually provided you the meal plan. I've already done that for you. I've already created your grocery list for you, and I've given you all the recipes. The only thing that you needed to execute on was actually making the food. Okay. And so with that 14-day meal plan that I provided you, I wanted to give that to you so you could see, like, this is an example of how you would plan out your meals for the week. How many of you felt like already by having that plan, a sense of relief or a sense of like confidence that you were going into the week with a better plan? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So now what we need to do is put that on repeat. Okay. And so one of the reasons, or the reasons that I see a lot of people not being consistent, is because they're not spending that time planning their meals. They're not spending that time meal prepping. And honestly, the meal planning and the meal prepping, I think a lot of times we think it's going to be like overwhelming. But if we're regularly cooking meals throughout the week, first of all, it's saving you time. It's saving you money from those days that like you're like, oh my God, I don't have anything to make today. I'm just going to go and order takeout. And then it's also like, for me, it really lowers my anxiety levels, knowing that I am going into my week prepared and I am eating foods that are aligning with my goals. Okay. So when it comes to meal planning and meal prepping, what you want to be doing is planning out your meals for the week, including your snacks, so you can really eliminate the need to make decisions on the spot, which can be really draining, especially after a long day of work. Before I went on my fat loss journey and I lost my 50 pounds, this was me every day. I'd wake up, I'd get ready. I'm like, I would frantically get my kids ready. I'm like, maybe I would grab something quickly from my fridge to bring to work with me for lunch. And all day long, I was thinking about what am I going to cook for dinner tonight? And then I would come home and still decide, what am I going to cook for dinner tonight? Maybe I didn't take out the meat. Maybe I didn't take out whatever. And then like what ends up happening? I'm like, okay, I'm just going to make pasta because it was easy. Or I would like throw a frozen pizza in like the oven because it was easy. So, but the thing is like these habits were not setting me up for success. These habits is probably what caused me to gain the weight. So what we could do and how we can make this really easy is just like eliminating that decision fatigue. It's a major reason why so many people fall off track. So when you have your meals and snacks ready to go, there's no guesswork. You're much less likely to grab something unhealthy because it's convenient. Plus, meal prepping allows you to control your portions and ensure that you're getting the right balance of nutrients to support your goals. So how do you want to do this? Here's some tips. Set aside some time each week, maybe on a Sunday, maybe on a Saturday, maybe on a Friday. Me personally, sometimes I start my meal prep on Friday nights. Like Friday nights, I'll make breakfast muffins or I make that cheesecake, like something that I can actually freeze. And I work smarter, not harder. I actually double up on my portion sizes. So it's like, okay, if I'm already going to make muffins, why don't I make 2 batches of these muffins and then I freeze them? So on like I'm making my meal prep a lot easier, like the week later or the week after that. The other thing that you can do, which I do a lot of, is I batch cook. Like I'll just do like maybe 2 proteins, like maybe I do shredded chicken, maybe I do chicken breast, maybe I love to do the casserole dishes, which I have included those casserole dishes in the 14-day meal plan. I think some of you made it. Who made the scalloped potato one? Yeah, Debbie, you made it. Did anybody else make that one? Or did you guys make any of those ones? So the scalloped potato one, I love that one. Why? Because it's like 8 servings. You know, I can have it for leftover. My family really loves it. So I like doing stuff like that. Or I'll do 2 proteins and 2 carbs. And then I just like kind of make meals out of it throughout the day. Oh, scalloped potato tonight. Awesome. Let us know how you like it, Shanta. And I know Debbie made it already too. Did it come out good, Debbie? I don't know if you can comment. Yes, it did. Okay, good. So that's the other thing that I do as well is I'll make a lot of these casserole dishes so that, you know, I'm setting myself up for success. Okay. And the reality is, guess how my night goes when it's time to eat? Go down, like I work in my home. So I go downstairs, or let's say you're coming home from work, you come home from work. And what do? You just pull it out of the fridge. Maybe you warm it up. Maybe you make a salad to go with it. Maybe you add some extra veggies to go with it. Like for me, I don't prep a lot of my veggies ahead of time. Or if I do, I'm prepping it that night and I'm making enough for like leftovers for the next day. Easy peasy, right? It's super, super easy. Or you could do like one protein that can make 2 different meals. So for example, you could do the ground beef and you could do the fries supreme and you can make protein nachos out of it. Or you do tacos out of it. You're using that one protein source, but making like 3 different meals out of it. Sorry, I needed to cough again. Okay. So really try to set yourself up for success in doing that meal planning and meal prepping. The next thing that we could do is let's try and reduce overall stress, okay? Another critical hack is reducing that overall stress, because life can be stressful, and when we're trying to lose weight or maintain a fitness routine, added stress can really throw you off track. So stress we know affects your hormones. We know that as we go through perimenopause and menopause, I talked about this many times if you came to the last the live training I did on Tuesday. And I also probably touched on it when we did our kickoff call. So when we lose progesterone and estrogen during perimenopause and menopause, and even like already by that point, even post-menopause, we know that those levels have declined. Our ability to handle stress significantly declines. This is where a lot of women experience things like anxiety, depression, and that is all related to, the fact that we've lost estrogen. Okay. And so we really want to work hard at reducing that overall stress. So it can affect your cortisol levels. Again, we talked about how cortisol levels can also increase that belly fat, increase that fat storage, especially around that belly area. It can also sap your energy, making it harder to stay motivated and consistent. So how can you manage stress? So first, we want to recognize the sources of stress in your life, whether it's work, family, obligations, or even pressure that you put on yourself. I have, over the past few years, been saying no to a lot of the things because I'm a people pleaser. So I found that I was like constantly saying yes to everyone. And then I just had like so much on my plate. I think one of the most liberating things that I've done over the past 5 years of my life, because I'm 45, I'm going to be 46 right now, is saying no to things. Like, I know I don't want to do that because I know that's extra pressure on my plate and another added thing on my plate that I don't really want to do. And it's felt really good because I'm like focusing more on me and just reducing that overall stress. I feel so much better. Okay. I feel so much better because now I do have that time to focus on myself, even saying no to my own family, like saying no to my kids, like, no, we are not doing that this weekend because I need my time to meal plan and meal prep. Once I do that, then we can go and do the stuff that you want to do. Or saying no to a lot of you have felt that with the walking this week, if it's something that you haven't done regularly, do you feel like you're sleeping better? Do you feel like you're less stressed out? Have you noticed that at all with the walking? I see Debbie saying yes and nodding her head. Okay, awesome. Shanta, have you noticed it? You said no? Okay. So maybe you need to look at other things, other ways to reduce stress. But we do know, like, there's lots of research and studies out there. Walking is one of the best ways to reduce cortisol levels and manage those blood sugar levels and insulin levels as well too, which we do become more insulin resistant when we're over the age of 40 and going through perimenopause and menopause. The other thing you could do is practice things like meditation, yoga, deep breathing exercises, or even just taking time out for yourself each day to relax and unwind. Like we talked about the other day, 5 to 10 minutes a day. Take a break, go do some meditation, maybe even lie down if you can, like go outside, get some sun. Getting sun is really great as well too. Something that we often recommend, especially for women that are not sleeping well, like go outside first thing in the morning, put your face to the sun. It helps with regulating your circadian rhythm. It helps naturally lower melatonin levels. Like getting that sun daily is super, super important. Outside walks can help with that as well too. You can kind of kill two birds with one stone and go walking and get that outdoor sun. Okay, so whatever really makes you happy. Maybe reducing stress for you could be going to meet up with friends or just listening to music. Or for me, I love listening to podcasts, like just listening and zoning into podcasts. That's something that's really stress reducing for me. I really enjoy alone time. How many moms here like alone time? I know I love alone time. I love my kids, but I also want some alone time. That's also reduces stress for me. Okay, number 6 is don't put too much pressure on yourself to be perfect, okay? Why is my hand up? That is so weird. Okay, I'm gonna lower this hand. That's weird. I think sometimes like if you make gestures, it does it. So this is a big one because so many of us fall into the trap of thinking that if we're not perfect, we failed. How many of you guys feel this way? Like if you are not 100% perfect, Shanta, you, how many of you feel that if you're not 100% perfect, like why even bother? This all or nothing mentality, right? I'm going to break something to you. Nobody's perfect. No one. No one is perfect. So we have to stop putting this pressure on ourselves to be perfect on the journey. Okay. And like, it's just really unrealistic and also unnecessary. If you have a meal that's off plan or things don't go the way that you wanted to, it's okay. Okay. It's seriously okay. The most important thing to do in those moments is get right back on track. There's no need to feel guilty or beat yourself up about it. I always tell people what matters most is what you do afterwards. So you always have two choices. I'm going to get right back on track and keep going, or I'm just going to quit. But where does quitting get you? Nowhere. It actually gets you nowhere. Whereas if you try to get back on track, like it's better for us to be like 70% consistent or 80% consistent than zero consistency and doing nothing. Because the 80 and 70% consistency that you can create by just getting right back on track is still going to move you in the right direction. And so, like, really just stop beating yourself up. Like, guilt and shame are not productive. They only serve to make you feel worse and can even lead to more off-plan eating or missed workouts. You know, I see this a lot on the weekends. Oh, I had a cookie. F it. I'm just going to start again on Monday. How many of you have started again on Monday because of this scenario? You know, you have a cookie and you're like, screw it. I'm just going to eat the rest of the bag of this cookie. And you know what? It's already Saturday. I might as well like my next meal, like screw it. And you know what? Like tomorrow's Sunday. So let's forget about that. And here we are again, Monday starting over. Right? This is typically what happens because we have this ideal that we need to be perfect. So the solution to that is to understand, have some, you know, give your body, like, give yourself a break. You know, don't be so hard on yourself. What matters most is how you respond to those slip ups or those setbacks. And the only way that you need to respond is to just get right back on track. Yeah, all diets start on Mondays, laugh out loud. Yeah. So if we go into this, and normally it's because we're on this mentality that we have to be perfect, right? So there's a few things that can cause this. Let's start back on Monday. Like having that all or nothing mentality, feeling that you need to be perfect, or your diet is so restrictive that you feel like you can't have that cookie. And when you do, you're like, F it, I'm not doing this anymore. Or you do a diet like keto where it's carb, like for example, let's say you're on keto, right? Keto, you're not supposed to have carbs, you're not supposed to have certain fruits. You go to a party, there's bread there, there's pizza there, whatever, you have it, and you're like, screw it, I'm not doing this anymore because I had that one piece of bread. But like when you do a super restrictive diet like that can also cause you to be inconsistent, like we talked about earlier. So we need to take the pressure off of us so that we can make the journey much more enjoyable and sustainable. We're not striving for perfection. We're striving for progress. Remember, I talked about that in the kickoff call. And that's what will get you the results you want in the long run and helping you stay really, really consistent. So, ladies, for those of you that are watching here live right now, out of like, what do we have? 6 things here. So I said, don't do super low diets, low calorie diets, no super restrictive diets, being accountable, having the support and having accountability, Number 4 is setting yourself up for success by pre-planning and meal planning. Number 5 is reducing overall stress. And number 6 is like not putting too much pressure on yourself to be perfect, okay? Out of those 6 things, what is one thing that really resonated with you that you feel that you can start implementing right away? I want you to share it with me. If you want to mute yourself, you can, or you can pop it in the comment section. What is one thing that you can do right away to help, like one of these things, hacks, be accountable, meal prep, and not being so tough on myself? I love that. I really, really love that. Anybody else want to share what they feel like they can start doing right away to start like being consistent? If there was anything else, you could just share it in the comment section. All right, ladies. Well, listen, that wraps up our training. I hope this was really helpful. Was this helpful? Yeah, I'm keeping a daily diary. Okay, awesome. That's amazing. That's good, Kelly. Okay, I hope that this is helpful for you. I hope there are some key nuggets here that you learned today that you can start implementing right away. We have 3 more days left of our challenge. So I can't wait, for you guys to use these to help you stay consistent for the next 3 days and even beyond that. So again, a lot of you have already had your assessment call with me. If you haven't booked that, please book that. Please fill out your Friends of Fit assessment. For the feedback that I've been getting so far from the people that have done it is that it's been very helpful for them. I'm giving you the roadmap to success to get you to where you want to be. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I have many calls today with a lot of you, so I'm looking forward to doing that. And keep crushing it, ladies. So we have 3 more days. I hope you've enjoyed this. And if you have any other questions, pop it in the group chat, pop it here, whatever you want. I'm very, very available and I'll respond very quickly to you. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks so much for joining me today. Bye for now. Bye.